Super Bowl champion Mark Schlereth is here writing some notes down. Broussard, are you expecting an MVP-type performance from Jalen Hurts?
Well, look, the way people raved about Daniel Jones' performance last week kind of viewed it as MVP-like. If that's the case, then yeah. Because he played a lot like Jalen Hurts. All right, in fact, the last time, let's throw out the last game of the season when the Giants were resting their starters and Hurts wasn't running the ball, just trying to get his arm loose. When they played before that, Philadelphia won by 26 points. And Hurts had 2 touchdown passes, I believe, and ran for almost 100 yards. One of his best rushing games of the year.
It was his last good game of the season. Because the next game he got hurt against Chicago, and then he missed 2 games and then came back.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I think that he will come out and they will have their way with the Giants. I'm not saying they're going to beat them by 26, but I think he plays well. I think, look, he's one of the biggest competitors in a league full of competitors. And I think he's been sitting back, seeing how, since he got hurt, since kind of that last great game, people have been kind of downgrading him and the Eagles. And I think he's chomping at the bit to get back. So I do think that he has a great game.
I'm going to go no. I think rhythm is important. I think the way you finish the season, the way you play is important. I think this is one of those games where Wink Martindale, I did a game a couple of years ago where Wink was the defensive coordinator, not of the Giants at the time, but of the Ravens. Okay? And he was playing a prominent quarterback that had that ability. And I'm asking him, what's your game plan? How do you defend this guy? He goes, that guy, at the end of the day, I got to make him throw the ball 40 times. If I can make him throw the ball 40 times, we're going to win this football game. And it's interesting when you think about it that way because the Philadelphia Eagles are structured. They run the ball so exceptionally well. They can run the power game. They can run the pin and pull game, get to the outside edge. They've got that athleticism to beat you up physically, to outflank you athletically, and then their quarterback run comes into that. And off of that, they set up so many easy play actions, so many just one-on-one matchups. So the principle here is I'm going to have a 5-down defensive front. I'm going to stack it with a safety in the middle, and I'm going to make Jalen Hurts beat us throwing the football. And if he can do it, great. But you're coming off a shoulder injury. You're coming off, you haven't played, you guys haven't played. You don't have that rhythm. I think that's the game plan going forward. And so that said, and he's got that capability of beating you that way. I just don't think he's going to have a great game.
And he's got the wide receivers, you know what I mean?
He does. Tennessee tried to do it to him and he cut him up.
Absolutely
He cut him up. But I'm just saying, because of the rhythm and everything else, I think this is a game where he doesn't play that well.
They could turn him into big
I think it's a real concern, and I also think that we can't possibly overstate what a big moment this is in Jalen's career. So I'm hesitant. I don't want to do the compare black quarterback to black quarterback thing. But I am going to compare him to Lamar, not even really stylistically, because Jalen's already a better passer than, in my opinion, 100%. Lamar.
There's no question.
And he is a powerful runner, while Lamar's almost a more elegant speed runner. But here's where I'm going to do the career comps. Right, Lamar comes on midway through his rookie year, gets them to the playoffs, plays poorly in that playoff game, but everyone's like, hey, we didn't even expect to be here. The next year, wins league MVP, they're the 1 seed, gets to the playoffs, plays poorly again, and now that's the word on him. It's like, I can't play well in the playoffs. Jalen, his first year as a starter, they come on at the end of the year, get to the playoffs, don't expect him to be there. They're down 31-0. He looks out of his depth, but no one kills him for it because nobody expected him to be here. Good for him. This year, some people, 14 weeks into the season, had him as league MVP. They're the 1 seed. If he plays poorly in this playoff game, this is a guy that could be up for a contract after this year because he doesn't have that 5th-year option like a first-round pick does.
Sure.
This is a massive spot for him because he was so good in the regular season and so bad in last year's playoffs. And
here's the only thing I'd add to that. If he plays poorly and they lose. If he plays poorly and they win.
No, because then he gets another opportunity. That 100% agree.
Schlereth, the New York Times had an article on the quarterback sneak talking specifically about the Eagles. The Eagles, 29 for 33 on first downs or touchdowns with this quarterback sneak. Do you think a not 100% Jalen Hurts, this should be in the playbook?
Oh, yeah, I think 100% it should be in the playbook.
Even though there's an element of you're going to get hurt by maybe your own guys.
Yeah, listen, it's not like the impact on a quarterback sneak is coming from 5 yards depth. everybody is hammered in there, right? By the way, this whole trend of having all those guys back there and pushing the quarterback through, several years ago when I first came in the league, we used to do that on PAT field goal. So we would push. We'd have a ramrod guy, and we'd get behind that guy and try to push him through on PAT.
On defense, to
on
block
the defensive side, yeah. And so they ended up as a league rule. They ended up basically making that go away.
So can I ask you a very quick question?
Danger-wise, I look at that. I think that's something that's going to be addressed.
So, but until it is a quick question, because you said it's not that risky of a play. The Chiefs used to run quarterback sneaks. Wilds and I were talking about this before the show. Then in 2019 against Denver, they ran one, and Mahomes got his kneecap dislocated.
Yep,
he has not run a single quarterback sneak since then. 3+ years. They do all types of goofy stuff. They have Travis Kelce do it. They do a bunch of stuff. So you think that's just them being overcautious, or the Eagles being a little reckless with their franchise quarterback, or they're just built different?
I would say one, that Mahomes is a freak and can do things that nobody else can do outside the pocket. Two, that was a freak injury that happened. Like, that is the odds of that ever happening again are slim to none. But they've just gotten to the point where they're protecting their asset. I understand that.
By the way, Broncos still haven't recovered from that karma. Haven't been the Chiefs since. I love that. Years and years.
Mahomes quarterback sneak? Like, no. How about the ring around the rosy? Better option. Yeah, that protects Mahomes. Darius Slayton weighed in on Daniel Jones, saying in part, definitely his respect around the league is going up. Broussard, do you think Daniel Jones is underrated or overrated at this point?
I get the teammates saying this. Saquon Barkley said he was elite, but he was asked, is he an elite? What's he supposed to say? All right, so I get the teammates coming out with these types of comments. But I do think on the outside, there have been people who've overreacted to last week's game. And look, Brian Daboll did a fantastic job with this guy. He kept him from doing what he doesn't do well and honed in on what he does do well. And he ran for almost as many yards this season as he did in his first 3 years.
He's good.
So credit to Daboll. He's a good quarterback, but people are talking about him like he's a definitive franchise quarterback. It's not definitive. He threw 15 touchdowns this season.
And he threw for 200 yards per game. And listen, this is earlier than I've said this in any show this week. We're 29 minutes in. But Brew made a good point. Here's the thing. I think deep down, even the folks who are going on TV this week demanding apologies on Daniel Jones' behalf, no, he's not that good. I think deep down they know that Brian Daboll right now is making the absolute most of the situation. Daniel Jones this year, twice prior to the playoff game where he was exceptional against the league's worst pass defense, threw for more than 230 yards. In both of those games, he turned the ball over. Everyone's like, oh, he doesn't turn the ball over anymore because they don't let him throw the ball a lot. Now, he's done a great job not fumbling the way he used to. But go ahead, Wilds, because you believe in Daniel.
Well, I believe in the facts. So,
okay.
15 touchdowns are the facts.
Here's Daniel Jones this season with comps of different players. His completion percentage is better than Mahomes. He's thrown fewer interceptions than Jalen Hurts. His passer rating is better than the Prince who was promised. And he rushed more than
He's
Josh
a great
Allen.
runner.
Okay, those are pretty good. And he won a playoff game, and if he sneaks this win, he's going to be like, still not very good.
You would give him a 5-year huge deal.
No, you wouldn't.
I give everybody the deals because I don't care.
Yeah, it's not Wild's money, so he's good. He's good with that. Listen, here's the thing. Brian Daboll's done a great job of basically mitigating potential disaster, mitigating the things you can't do. One of the problems in coaching in today's league is you put guys in a position to fail, and then you act astonished when they fail. You're the moron that put him there, right? So he has taken him out of that position to fail. He's put him in things that he can do. Now, here's to Brew's point, to your point with Daniel Jones. You know, everybody talked about last week. What a remarkable. He's the first quarterback in history to throw for 300 yards, to have two TDs, and to rush it for 70. Last year alone, 3 quarterbacks threw it for 300 yards, or 300 yards plus. Well, it was Josh Allen twice and Mahomes last year threw for 300, had 2 TDs, and you know how many yards rushing they had?
60.
Between 65 and 69.
Yeah.
Like, so let's, before we go, oh my gosh, it's never, ever happened in the history of football.
That's the way it goes.
He's 1 yard more rushing, so let's calm
fast and
down.
loose
Happened
with the
3
numbers.
times last
And by the
year.
way, one of those, it happened in the same game for Mahomes and Allen. One of
Yeah.
them was the divisional round.
Okay,
game
fine.
against
We'll
each other.
lower it down. So now it's Mahomes, Allen, and Daniel Jones. Okay. We happy now?
Okay.
And Mahomes
And I
did
bet
it.
you, I bet you Steve Young has several of them. I bet you, I bet
Steve
you
Young
go
too.
all the way.
That's the party.
I bet you go all the way back.
Okay, keep going.
You find a bunch of them.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.